Today I want to talk about my view on aggressive skating's most stylish tricks. Now, I'm 6'4" with a whole lot of limb, so clearly no king of style, but there are definitely some tricks that look better than others, and today I just want to share with you some of my favourites and my top tips and hacks on how to make them easier. Let's go. Now, the first trick I want to share is the Truma Zoo. Let's do some and we'll dive right into it. So I love the Truma Zoo. I think it's one of the easiest of the non-topside true spin tricks. The stance just feels really natural and stable, and allows you to get nice and centered over the obstacle. As well, I think it's because it's such a stable stance, it makes it quite easy to full cab out. And I've got a couple of tips to share with you to make this trick a bit easier. The first of which is to look down at your front foot, so at your sole foot, when you're locking into the trick, so that you just got that extra kind of guidance for your locking. And second, if you do want to full cab out, then start the spin about halfway through the obstacle. So what I mean by that is when you get to the halfway point, start to rotate your neck and your shoulders around in the direction that you want to spin, because it starts to build that momentum for you and also reduces the amount of spin you have to do when you do jump off. Next up is the back corral. Let's get into it. I just think that all of the backside and H-block tricks just all look really awesome. Again, they just allow you to get really centered over the obstacle, get a really low stance, and allow you to pop off really easily. A couple of tips when it comes to this one, and the first of which is just to, when you do adopt the stance to begin with, that can kind of throw your weight kind of out over the obstacle, which might make you slip out. What I tend to do then is just to drop your hip to allow you to center your torso over your feet and push and sort of counterbalance your feet being pushed out in a strange direction, and it just helps you to keep the balance, helps you to stay stable on the trick. The next trick I want to go for is the Savannah. Let's check it out. Them together, it's fine. I love all of the Unity tricks, but the front side and the backside Savannah have to be one of my favourites. And there's just something about that cross leg position, it just makes it look really hard, but at the same time, you know, you can get really nice and low, you know, if you're doing it well. And also that you can pop off this trick forwards or backwards, and either of them looks great. In terms of my tips for this one, I mean, it is definitely a really hard trick. You need lots of practice, you know, in order to be able to try and master it. It's still a work in progress for me. What I do find makes it a little bit easier is just to try and distribute your weight as evenly as possible over both feet. If you just put all of your weight onto your most dominant foot, you're just kind of going to slip out. And secondly, that when you do get into that lock, once you are locked in, try and push your feet outwards, as this just helps you to keep in the right position, stops you from slipping out, allows you to stay more stable and increase your chances of getting to the end of the grind. Next up, the humble top acid. Let's check it out. Top acid is a classic. It's been one of my favourites for a number of years. I don't really know why it looks so good, because it's kind of a bit of an unnatural, you know, foot position. But what I really like about this trick is I like to kind of use it to link other tricks together as part of a line, because I just think it feels awesome to come off fakie and then go next, kind of into your next trick as like a, you know, zero spin acid or a zero spin porn star, all of which look great. In terms of any tips for this one, well, it's always going to be a difficult trick to do on a ledge. What I do find is if you're learning this for the first time, that sometimes it can be easier to start on a rail, because it allows you to kind of jump over and do it dark sides. You don't have to completely commit to coming off on the same side, and just allows you to build up your confidence in order to slowly kind of lean right over the obstacle, so you can start to come off on the correct side. Next up is the true topsoul. Let's give it a go. Now, the true topsoul is a trick that I've kind of been steadily working on in the background, but I definitely haven't quite mastered it yet. it just looks awesome. You watch people like Alex Burston, Austin Paz, Derek Henderson do this trick, and it just looks awesome the way they just kind of drop that back foot in, drop the knee really low. It just always looks really sick. The way that I've been approaching it, and you might have some better tips for me, so leave them in the comments if you do, is I think of it like a switch backside, because that just helps to kind of psychologically reduce the kind of idea that there's a big spin into it. And I try and lock on my H-block foot first and then sort of drop my back foot in to give me a little bit more time. Seems to be working okay so far, but it's definitely not one of my stronger tricks. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and just remember, this is just a bit of fun. This is just my thoughts and opinions on these tricks. And if you have something you want to share, you know, a favorite trick, a trick that you think is the most stylish, particularly if you've got some hacks and tips on how to make it easier, let's build some community in the comments and let us know down below. So be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did get some value, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more blading content. I'm Chris Chadwick, and this is Keep Bowling. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.